I may need to borrow that term that you just taught me, the firminess of firms.
Hello, Blake Oliver here, and this is Gearing Up, a series by Relay. Relay is business banking designed for accountants and their clients. Just like me, they're obsessed with making firms more effective and efficient. So in each episode, I talk to real accountants and bookkeepers about one challenge they faced in their firm and how to solve it.
Today we have Megan Justice of Crayon Advisory on the show. Thank you so much for joining me, Megan.
Thanks for having me, Blake.
So tell us a little bit about you and your firm.
So my firm, I stepped out on my own because I really wanted to not deal with the firminess of firms. I wanted to just work with clients and be able to interact with them and help and support them through their accounting and tax needs and concerns. So I stepped out on my own and really wanted to bring a level of support and help and acknowledgement to these people, as well as being able to meet them wherever they're currently at, whether they're highly sophisticated and have quality accounting systems, or they're just graduating from scratching some things on paper into maybe thinking about a spreadsheet, but no, we're going to put them into some accounting software.
I may need to borrow that term that you just taught me, the firminess of firms. So you're out on your own. What kind of technology tools are you using in your practice?
I use UltraTax for my tax planning and preparation through their virtual office. It works out really well. And then all of the other things are completely independent and don't talk directly together. So I rely on Zapier a lot to make those connections for me and to bring information from one place to another. I use ClickUp for my project management. I use Google Workspaces is kind of my home base. I use Superhuman for my email. I actually get to inbox zero more often than not with
Wow.
and it's absolutely amazing. It's a great feeling. I use TextBlaze a lot, and I really lean on TextBlaze. It's part of what really helped solve some problems that I was having this last fall, and making things happen easier. I rely on Proposify for all my engagement letters and proposals. They look pretty. They're easy to access, and it puts everything all in one spot for me, which is really lovely. I use SureLink and Onvio as my portals. I lean on FreshBooks as my primary accounting system. That's what I use within my firm. My clients are mostly on either FreshBooks or Xero. I use Relay a ton, and I try and get as many clients into Relay as absolutely possible. Yes, because it is amazing bank software. It's an amazing bank. It's super easy to work with. I can go in and I see all of my clients right there. If there's ever a problem, which with Relay, I've never had a problem, but if there's ever a problem, I know I'm going to have a human to connect with somehow very, very quickly. And it's because Relay is constantly sending me information. My account manager reaches out to me on a regular basis in a non-annoying fashion. Like, I know that they're there for me. Everyone is there. There's the network. There's the support.
What is the one challenge that you have had in your firm, and how can you tell us to solve it?
So I end up working with a lot of brand new clients who have never used a tax preparer before. They've never used an accountant before. A lot of them are pandemic sole proprietors that they either lost their job or decided not to go back to their job during the pandemic. And now they're out there doing the solo thing, but they've never thought about this before, never been in business, and they don't actually know even the processes. We all know that it takes 2 to 3 weeks to turn a tax return around, if not longer, depending upon all the other things that are happening. That just because a client has sent 90% of the information, that last 10% is crucial for the tax return or the project, whatever it is. And it absolutely has to happen. And then on top of that, when you send that information in later, when the client sends that information in later, everything gets backlogged and it takes longer. They send it back in the next couple of days. It's usually pretty easy to pick it right back up. Client doesn't send it in for 2 to 3 weeks later, you're not picking that return up for another 2 to 3 weeks after the client has sent it in. It creates a bad customer experience. So I started relying more and more on infographics, and I built up some infographics that communicate all of this in one little card, one little spot, and just kind of walk the client through what happens. I've been including those with an email as I onboard these clients as to what to expect. It's really about setting up client expectations, which is something that I was told in my career for years, but then not actually given the tools or the permissions to really set up those expectations. But this is really the 1040 estimated delivery windows, that this is when we expect to be able to deliver tax returns, whatever time period it is, when you actually need to send information, what it is that's happening behind the scenes. So I'm reviewing the information that's been received, hopefully within 1 to 5 days receipt, but sometimes a little bit longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even starting tax return preparation until I have everything, and it's not getting started until 3 to 10 days from receipt of information, and that's pretty normal. And then finalizing and deliver the tax return and invoice. It's again another 3 to 10 days from receipt of any additional information. So that last 10%, it's not getting done until here. So I've also done it for businesses. It's the same infographic with different dates and different colors. There's really not a very big difference. And I used Canva to do all of this. Canva normalized the space between all of these things for me. I set up guides inside of there to drop this down, and I can pull Canva up as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I've used Canva myself. Super easy to create graphics without having to be a designer.
And it's really non-designer friendly. Another thing that I did to really communicate with clients was I built out this seasons graphic. This is another one. And
There you
I pulled
go.
up this one because it's going to show you kind of the iterations of what I've done. It's the same kind of thing. The months of the year are all kind of normalized by Canva itself. Even though we're in this grab bag period, if we're talking to a new client in July about tax planning, and then they send their information in the middle of August, I've moved on to extension season in here. And that's kind of what my focus is. And I'm not really going to be able to pick up tax planning again until October, November. So I built this out to really try and show that activity to my clients. Did this for advisory clients as well, for accounting and bookkeeping and that sort of thing. I need information by a certain time in order to deliver things. That if you want your stuff on the 15th, I've got to get it in the door. I can't turn it around in a day. It's just not possible. A lot of people don't realize that, and they don't like it. But when they start to understand that there's already things booked into my calendar to work on, even if I have a standing date of I work on your project or on your activity on the 5th of every month, if I don't have that information already in, I can't work on it when it's scheduled to be worked on.
Well, Megan, this is really interesting. Thank you for sharing this. I love the idea of using visuals to communicate information that people might not read in an email. We all know that people get way too much email, and visuals give you a much better shot at communicating the information. And then it's a resource they can go back to and look at, or maybe copy to their desktop, whatever they like to do. Are you looking to connect with anyone online? What are your social media handles?
I'm out there on Twitter, Megan A. Justice. Sometimes I'm on Instagram. It's the same thing. I think there's some dots in there, megan.a.justice. I also exist as Crayon Advisory on Facebook and Instagram, and I exist as myself on Facebook as well.
Megan, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your knowledge. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.